My name is H.A. Goodman. I'm an author, columnist, and journalist. And to read all my writing, go to counterpropa.com. Support the site through the Amazon links and the donate button at Counterpropa. Share the petition below. The petition is to force the DNC to give its computer servers to the FBI for examination and analysis. The DNC has never given its computer servers to anyone in the U.S. government. The FBI requested them. The DNC said, no way. Why? They obviously have many things to hide, but the entire Russian hacking narrative is predicated upon DNC servers that have never been looked at. Also, please share the latest Counterpropa article. Hillary Clinton said single payer would never happen. Now Trump is repealing Obamacare. Share that article. Before I get to Rachel Maddow, I'm going to explain something to my amazing subscribers. This channel is a channel in large part, not only, but in large part, dedicated to Democratic hypocrisy. If you don't like the Democratic Party, whether you're a Bernie Sanders voter who feels cheated like I do, or a Jill Stein voter who feels cheated and insulted, basically both Bernie and Jill voters feel the same way. We were bullied by a Democratic establishment that didn't really care about bold, progressive ideas, and actually in many ways sided with neoconservatives. We told the Democratic establishment and all the liberals, the neoliberals crying about Trump right now, that Trump would win. He won. People like Rachel Maddow didn't listen. They kept on with their Hillary is wonderful. Hillary Clinton, Madam Cyberhack, HROD 17, is less popular, less liked, less admired than President Trump. That's with everything going on with the media entirely after him. Now we have Rachel Maddow. We haven't seen an epic debacle, a monumental failure like this in liberal politics in a while. The last monumental, horrific crash and burn was the I'm With Her campaign that lost $1.2 billion. But getting back to this channel, a lot of people don't know what to make of me or the channel. If you don't like the Democratic Party, whether you're on the left or the right, there's something for you here. In the long run and in the short run, the more the Democratic Party is dismantled, at least in terms of the hypocrisy, at least in terms of the association or the link, the direct link to Wall Street and to war and all the antithesis of progressive values that the Democratic Party stands for, the more that's torn apart or dismantled, the better it is for progressives. I can go on forever about that. But there's something here for everybody who doesn't like the Democratic Party, whether you're conservative or liberal or progressive or whatever, or independent especially. Rachel Maddow lands a scoop, then makes viewers wait. Rachel Maddow left with nothing after fake news report. That's the Boston Herald. Maddow, people disappointed by Trump's story expected too much. CNBC. That was the Sacramento Bee. CNBC. Donald Trump just got a nice victory thanks to, of all people, Rachel Maddow. Anti-Trump queen goes from coronation to, that's one article. Rachel Maddow, this is Slate. This is how horrible you have to be. Rachel Maddow turned a scoop on Donald Trump's taxes into a cynical, self-defeating spectacle. It basically summarizes Clinton's campaign. Also, Rachel Maddow had a decent scoop. Here's what she did wrong with it. So, even CNN, Rachel Maddow's epic buildup, 2 pages from Trump's 2005 tax returns. This is The Hill. Maddow's excessive hype, a win for Trump. Chris Hayes, Rachel Maddow, the talking heads, Michael Moore, in many ways, Bill Maher, Seth Meyers, all of them, John Oliver, all of these smarter than the average Joe pundits who if you just listened to them, you would know that Clinton was a million times better. That's irrelevant whether she would be marginally better or a lot better from the standpoint of regulations, environmental regulations, Wall Street regulations. But people don't want regulations. They want bold, dynamic change. And if it doesn't happen, if it's not pragmatic in terms of the short term, they want people to, they want a progressive, they want a candidate to try to make it happen. That's why Trump won, and that's why he'll win re-election in 2020, thanks to people like Rachel Maddow. I'm going to read you, this is people say, well, H.A., why you still love Bernie? Reforming Wall Street. This is BernieSanders.com. Wall Street cannot continue to be an island unto itself, gambling trillions in risky financial decisions while expecting the public to bail it out. He's not a communist, first of all, and he's not a socialist. His platform or his philosophy, democratic socialism, completely different from communism. Not a communist. It's not, he actually wants Wall Street to work, not to siphon or to cheat hundreds of millions of Americans. Wall Street, okay, the 6 largest financial institutions in this country today hold assets equal to about 60% of the nation's gross domestic product. 6 largest financial institutions in this country today hold assets equal to about 60%. 60%. Not good. Break them up. These 6 banks issue more than 2/3 of all credit cards, over 35% of all mortgages. They control 95% of all derivatives and hold more than 40% of all bank deposits in the U.S. We must break up too big to fail financial institutions. Those institutions received a $700 billion bailout from U.S. taxpayers and more than $16 trillion in virtually no interest loans from the Federal Reserve. Despite that, financial institutions made over $152 billion in profit in 2014. We can go on. Introduced the Too Big to Fail, Too Big to Exist Act, led the fight. So if these are monopolies, if these banks are so big that one of them goes under and the remaining 5 of the 6 giant banks are then affected, we have a 2008 collapse all over again, maybe worse, maybe a global collapse, maybe a financial collapse, somewhere in the world affects one of the banks, affects Citigroup, or Citigroup causes a financial collapse in Europe. The point is, if they're too big to exist, they're too big. If they're too big to fail, they're too big to exist. That's what Bernie Sanders was talking about. That's why I focus on Bernie Sanders. And that's why Rachel Maddow just helped President Trump win re-election in 2020. Because you don't get it if you are a progressive or liberal who says, you're on Trump's side now. And also on the conservatives, who I am never going to not be on Bernie's side or on Jill's side on these types of issues. That's why when you hear conservatives talk about globalist, you're not breaking up the biggest banks on the planet. That's globalist in my view, but anyway. Give me your thoughts below. The debacle, the Russian hacking tax return debacle, that is playing into President Trump. You are not going to go ahead, you are not going to beat Trump by focusing on the neoliberal, cushy, doughy middle. Trump will win again because of the Rachel Maddows of the world. Give me your thoughts below. Thank you so much for listening.